are very excited to start this series of conversations. The spirit of this call and of the project in general is to share in authenticity, in courage, and also in vulnerability what it looks like to build a business that can bring joy and fulfillment in the day-to-day. And also how it looks like to run a successful business in the operational side. So on that topic, today we're going to talk about authentic sales, which is a topic that I feel deeply passionate about. But the spirit is to make this very interactive. We are here to serve you, answer your questions. We know there's a lot of anxiety around sales. So I'm going to let Laurence take the mic and tell you a little bit about how the dynamic is going to work for today. And I also want to take the opportunity to thank her for being my partner in crime in setting this up.
Yes, so hello, nice to meet you, everyone. I'm Laurence. I'm contributing to the She Grows project. And during this call, I will be facilitating your interactions with Itzel during the 30 minutes that we have together. And by this, I give the floor back to Itzel.
Thank you. So maybe just to know a little bit about you, could you please write in the chat if you are a solopreneur, or if you are part of a small company. I am interested in knowing if you are selling your own product, your own company, or somebody else's.
And so what I'm reading out is that there is a small company business owner. There is a co-founder of a company. There is a salesperson from a small company of 8. Same for Caroline and Alexis, and Lisbeth, a solopreneur. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start about talking why it feels so challenging to sell, or why is that we feel so resistant to sell? Can you please also comment in the chat, why do you think is that? Why do we feel like so much anxiety around selling? It looks simple until you try it for your own project. Yeah, that's very true. And it also takes a little bit of reflection, right? Yeah, we would like people to come to us instead of asking, telling them to buy. Okay, because we do not seem authentic if we have a secret agenda. Good one, Alexis. Yeah, so I mean, selling could feel very challenging, but it doesn't have to. And I want to explore together with you what I have found are some of the main reasons why it's so challenging. And what I think in my own journey is probably the one most powerful reason that once we work on that really has the impact to change how we feel about sales and the results that we have. So first of all, when we feel resistance towards something or something challenging, it could be a lack of alignment between who we are and what we're selling. So I will say that the first check is like, do I really love what I am selling? Am I really passionate about it? Does it feel in integrity with my values? And you can comment at any moment if you think that's check, like I really love what I am doing. And since we are among entrepreneurs, we mostly work around the things that we care about and things that we want to exist in the world. And personally, I have to say that I only sold things that I'm really passionate about, and that's the only way I know about how to sell. So I will invite that if you are not sure that what you're selling really feels in alignment with your values, maybe it's an opportunity to revisit that if the resistance is coming from that place. And then the other that is probably, I will say, it's the underlying reason why selling is so hard, is that selling triggers in us some of our most foundational fears as humans. And this is the fear of rejection, the fear of not being accepted, and ultimately the fear of not being loved. So as we have this foundational fear, there is, our reptilian brain, the system within us that is dedicated to protect us and to keep us safe, that is telling us, no, don't go there, don't do it. And it starts like firing all these thoughts in our brain. This is too hard. I'm never going to be able to do this. Or if I do this, people are going to think that I am pushy or I look needy. So all these other beliefs start coming to our head. So why is it important to be aware of these beliefs and these thoughts that our brain is, firing in our heads? And the reason is because 80% of our results are going to come from our mindset, from what we believe. And only 20% of the results come from having the right techniques, the books, everything that you can read, or even if you have a mentor on sales, that's only 20% of the work. But if you really don't have the right mindset or the right belief system, it doesn't matter what you learn, you are not gonna execute it. You're not gonna do it because you are still gonna resist it. And this is because there is a very foundational formula about how beliefs inform the results we have that applies to everything in our lives, and sales is not the exception. So this is really powerful, and it's something that please consider writing it down, because it can inform the results you want in your relationships, in your life, and in your business. And the formula is that first comes like what we think, our beliefs. Our thinking is gonna inform our emotions, how we feel, and our emotions are gonna inform the actions that we take. And these actions ultimately are gonna give the results. So I'm gonna give you an example. More than 10 years ago, one of the most challenging jobs that I had to do is that I had to raise the first venture capital fund for Latin America to invest in tech startups. So I had to go and raise money from high net worth individuals, asking them a lot of money to invest in this dream and this vision of creating valuable companies coming from Latin America. And there I realized that I came from the belief that I thought that selling was like begging, like begging and asking people please, give me money. So how do you think I felt when I was thinking, selling is begging, is asking? You are free to write in the chat, but I'm going to tell you what my emotions were. I was feeling small because I felt I was, please give me. So I was feeling small, unempowered, victimized, insecure. So if I am feeling like that, what do you think were the actions that I took? Am I going to reach out to as many people as I can? Or maybe, I'm just going to reach out to one or two persons. Maybe I'm going to write a very shy email. And then if I take these very timid, small steps, then no wonder that the results can also be small. So then when I realized, that I cannot do this because it looks like so much effort. If it feels like, I'm going and asking and against my will and this reptilian brain of mine trying to keep me safe, then I said, okay, what if I challenge this belief that I'm gonna bear? And what else could it be? And then I started thinking that this is actually inviting, this is an invitation. I am inviting people to this opportunity, to this vision that we had together as a company of building, the future of tech companies for the region. And I said this is actually I so deeply believe in this. We don't know what the results are going to be, but we know it's worth investing in it. And I will go out and say, if I could just share with people what this is about and the dream, and then they will decide if it resonates with them or not. So when I changed to, okay, this is going to be actually an invitation, then the emotions that came through were, excitement, curiosity, and I felt empowered. And from this place, what do you think were the actions that I took? If I was thinking, this is an invitation, this is an opportunity, then I wanted to reach out to as many people as I could. And if I was in a networking event, I wanted to talk to everybody and share the dream, because I was actually feeling bad for the people that would be missing it, because I truly believe it was a great opportunity. And that, of course, started changing the results that I had, because the more people that I reach out and the more I shared from this place and this energy and this excitement, people started saying, wow, like there must be something there, no? And more people started coming back. Does it make sense to you? Yeah, I'm seeing a couple of nods. Yeah. And it's interesting because, we hear a lot about techniques, but if we really don't explore these other, the reality of the emotions and our thoughts, it's really, really where we can find the tricking point to shift things around. So since we're here, I will say, let's do some work on this. And to start changing our beliefs, and now that we know that it's worth analyzing and changing our limiting beliefs, I will say that the first step is to actually identify them, because we cannot change what we are not aware of. So before we move into finding them, have any of you already identified some of your limiting beliefs around sales, or what you think sales is? Okay, so if you're not sure about what your limiting beliefs around sales are, these exercises are gonna bring it to the surface. So please take a piece of paper, pen, something to write with, and start by writing the following sentence. So I'm gonna say a sentence, you're gonna write it, and then without taking the pen out from the table or the paper, you're just gonna write whatever comes to mind, okay? So the first sentence is, selling is. And without any judgment, without trying to change it right now, just write whatever comes. Another sentence that you can please start writing and then continue is, salespeople are. What do I think salespeople are? And this is very interesting, because think about, as you were growing up, what did you hear about selling or salespeople, or if you had any experience? So I can remember, like when I was very young and we were in holidays, it was very common that there were people selling you kind of a membership to share like vacation apartments, and they will take you like in the morning for breakfast, and they will show you around, and you will spend all day with them, and at the end will come the hard sell. So when I remember that experience, I said like, yeah, for me, I grew up thinking that salespeople, steal your time, that they try to trick you, that they are not honest. And if I have these beliefs that salespeople are like that, then of course I don't want to be a salesperson. And by changing beliefs, it doesn't mean that these people didn't do that. Yeah, maybe they did it, but that just shows the kind of salesperson that I don't want to be. No, then what would be the opposite? Well, I want to make sure that the people I speak to, I give value during the time that they share it with me. I want to make sure that I added value, that I shared something inspiring, that I am solving a problem. Okay, and we have someone who actually has very good beliefs around salespeople. People are convincing human, like to chat without understanding. That's great. This is someone who has a different wiring in their brain about what sales are. So from this place, I think, a salesperson is someone who is patient, not easily, so is perseverant, convincing. Well, from this place, there's lots of things that I want to try out. Okay. So I think I'm gonna stop here with my presentation, or my main objective for today was that you could identify that it's worth looking at beliefs and how beliefs could be a root cause of some of other challenges. And sales is a much bigger topic, and we can keep the discussion on that. But for today, that was the main thought that I wanted to share with you. And now I want to pass on to Laurence and see if we can answer some questions.
Yes, so indeed, feel free to use the chat or raise your hand if you have questions that pop up your mind, or if you want to know more. And then we will take them. Either I will read them out, or if you raise the hand, give you a few moments to speak out.
Lisbeth says, nice, inspiring talk. Thanks. We're happy to know that we are giving some value, because that's the spirit.
Abby has a question, yes, on how an introvert can become a successful salesperson.
This one, I love it. And I think that first I will challenge a little bit the belief about what you think a salesperson should be. Because if we think, a salesperson should be outspoken, salesperson should be, like people who want to take the mic all the time, then you might not think that you're a good salesperson. But I will say you need to look at then what is, I don't want to say the superpowers, because that's that's a word that is probably overused, but what feels in alignment to you. So you don't need to be loud to be powerful. You can be convincing in your integrity of the things that you care about. So what I will say is, first, challenge your beliefs that a salesperson needs to be an extrovert, and look for examples of great salespeople out there who are introverts, and that I know a couple of them, entrepreneurs that I admire a lot. And why they do, for example, is that they have an online business, and they wouldn't go live in a conversation like this because it's not for them, but they will write very intentional, very good content, and very intentional about what they care about and what they are inspired. And I will say, in the one-to-one is probably the same. You are probably going to be more careful about the people that you target and the reasons why you are targeting them, and you will find your own power in your own style.
Yeah, Abby also adds a little bit of her thoughts by saying that the salesperson should be a people person, and that it's kind of hard to sell when you don't feel very comfortable around the crowd.
Well, I'm not sure, because I mean, now with everything being online, for example, I had to sell a lot on the one-on-one. No, I was targeting like specific people, and in that case, for example, LinkedIn is a wonderful tool. No, so I will have more people there together than in any possible event. And so then on one side, that there's other ways to reach out to people without being in front of a crowd. But then if your product or service still requires that you are in front of the crowd, then I will say start questioning, or be curious about what is it about being in a crowd that doesn't feel right to you. So what is it? If it's just because, maybe you're an introvert and you feel like, it's too much, or is it something else? Because what it's beautiful about exploring business in this way is that as we grow our business, we have to grow things in ourselves. So this means questioning our thinking. This means exploring our fears. So I will say, on one side, saying, okay, what feels comfortable? What feels uncomfortable is that I don't feel secure about sharing what I have to share, or is it more that I just don't enjoy being with people around? And then I think there's other vehicles where you can still successfully reach out to people.
There is a very interesting question from Lisbeth coming that asks, when do you decide your product is good enough to sell?
Well, I think it all depends on how you communicate it and the value you assign. So for example, if you are starting a new product and you know it's not fully finished, no, like, you know, maybe the potential price of that product is going to be, I don't know, 200 euros. And now it's in the making, so it has some flaws. So then I think you can reach out in this honesty of saying, you know, this product we are very excited about, it has the potential to do this. But now we are in the process of testing it. So for now, it's going to be available at 1/3 of the price. So I think you can always go out and sell it as long as it feels a fair exchange about where your product is at and the value that it's giving. Does it make sense? Yeah, I see some nods.
As I don't see any other question in the chat, maybe I could add one more. As we were talking about beliefs and the shift that we can make in beliefs, I was wondering what was maybe the main shift in beliefs that you experienced during your sales experience?
Well, I think, you know, there's lots of beliefs, no? And the more that you go, you realize, oh, I have these other beliefs, but definitely like the most powerful that changed everything for me was to going from selling is asking to actually sell is giving. Sales is about giving. And to get to that place, you need to focus your product or your service towards what problem I'm solving. So you need to be very honest about what problem I am solving to people. And from this place, saying, okay, I am here to help people solve this pain. So then it's about giving something. And then I will say the other main shift was that it's about building relationships. That selling is about building relationships and building trust. So it's a journey. It could be depending on the sales cycle of your product, but it's always about building trust and listening. Okay, what is the pain that my client has? What is the problem? And then what can I give? What can I give to solve it? And then adapting and transforming my product or my service towards adding every time more value. Then it's like a complete different thing. I'm not asking anymore. I am giving. And from this place, I want to give to as many people as I can.
Thank you. Unless there is one other hand to be raised or another question to be asked in the chat, I would first like to thank you all for the honesty with which you shared your thoughts on sales, because it's not easy, and as Itzel says, it triggers emotion and things in us that go quite deep. And then actually we had a question for you. We were wondering, now that you have had those 30 minutes on the beliefs that drive us in our sales experience, what would you maybe like to know more, and what would be a topic that would interest you to dig more into? And you can use the chat to give us a hint on what this is. So Lisbeth asks if there are any trainings and what do we sell. Then maybe Itzel, I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah, I will say, like, we don't sell anything at this point. we start by giving, because that's actually one of the principles, and what I teach is that we start with curiosity. We start giving, we start offering what we know, we start with curiosity, understanding what the problem is. And then from that place, we get information and we build something. So I will say nothing for now. But my question would be, what kind of training would you like to have? You know, a training that includes what? And that's also a journey that I will invite you as you create your business of listening all the time to your customer and build it. So I will say, I would love to build a product. I would love to build a training, but I want to make sure what is that I need to build. And from that, I need to hear from you. What is that you would like to learn? Would you like to learn how to crush beliefs, or would you like to learn the process from beginning to end to start a sales relationship and close it?
So Alexi has a suggestion that says selling in writing. So the question would be how not to look like a spam email when cold contacting someone identified as a qualified prospect.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big topic, but I will say the short answer to that is personalization. That is the short answer.
Stephanie asks whether we have tips on how to change one's mindset about selling.
That's a work of a lifetime, darling. But but it starts with awareness. Once you catch it, once you are aware of it, you can change it. So I will say simple step is you identify which one it is, and you start questioning. Is it true? And what else could be true? So if I am selling, a little bit in the example that I gave, when I said like selling is begging, until I got fed up of it because it was not serving me. Well, what else is possible? Like, am I really begging? Oh, well, it feels like, but what else is possible? Well, this could also be valuable, right? Like, this is like a whole new world. It's another opportunity. And then start with curiosity, thinking what else is possible. And then if you are changing more on working on particular tools to change mindsets, we can do a session on that, because that's different work that also requires its own time to do it properly. But I will say just start journaling, writing to identify them and being aware of them. And once you start being aware, then you have a possibility to do something about it and to question it.
So a last question that came in was from Nicola saying, what are the best steps or processes to integrate product and service testing?
What are the best steps to integrate product service testing? Well, I'm going to assume I will probably need to know more about your product, but then I will say, if you would like people to start testing your product, just reach out. So for example, here in Luxembourg, we have an organization that is dedicated to, it makes an invitation to people to beta test products. So they just invite them in a house, they provide lunch, they say, come here and test my product. So in the same spirit, I will start by giving, so it's like, come here, we're gonna have lunch, there's gonna be drinks, please come and test my app, is the name of the organization here, test my app. So come test my product, test my, and give something. Always, if you are asking for something, always think, what am I gonna give first? Okay.
As I see that it's 3:30, I take the last comment, which is from Lisbeth, and says it would be nice to have a very concrete plan to take steps. Well, actually, I want to thank you all for the answers on the question, and maybe by this also sharing that indeed for the moment we are giving, and this is why we will organize more of authentic conversations based on what you asked also, and building those conversations on your questions, and to be kept up to date and follow the schedule of those conversations, we invite you to sign up on the website that I just put in the chat, which is www.shegrows.lu. And when you sign up, you will receive a notification whenever another authentic conversation comes up, and we will probably keep the format of 30 minutes as I think it fits your busy schedules.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you a lot, and see you.